Big Leny Yoro news, a return in October and not November on the cards. Leny Yoro off the crutches, doing well in his recovery, and why will that be significant for Manchester United? The truth about Xavi Simons, a player that United did try and sign. We know that there has been interest in Man United signing a winger. They did have a look at Xavi Simons, obviously knowing that Sancho and Greenwood were set to depart the club. Why didn't United end up getting Xavi Simons? And is that a suggestion that Manchester United is going to go for a winger in the January window or next summer? We have looked at Assane Diao. We're looking at sort of young players as well on the market like Dibbling, Gittins. I think it's very clear that United do want to bring in a winger and a left back and another midfielder, according to the leaks, among more, because they are also looking at Ederson of Atalanta as a Casemiro replacement, Angel Gomez as an Ederson replacement, and more. And we will talk about the plans for January and next summer, but I want to talk about some of the interesting news coming out from the Mappeteers in regards to injuries at United, how it's going to be managed, a change in plans for the youth, a few transfer targets revealed, and also a big boost in regards to Mason Greenwood, where Manchester United could be making some large money off Mason Greenwood if Marseille sell him because of the 50% sell-on clause. And with his brilliant start to the season at Marseille, a lot of big clubs are keeping an eye on the player. So hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news show. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. I do apologise that I look very rough. I am very hungover. I did go out very late last night, but we're going to power through this video. So Leny Yoro won't be back until closer to the next international break or after, potentially. The club won't rush players back like last year. He's expected back after the October international break, but there's a suggestion he could potentially come back before, but they don't want to rush him back. So Leny Yoro wasn't expected back to November. There was a lot of talk saying he wouldn't be back to November. There's now talk and news coming out that Leny Yoro could be back in October. The club obviously don't want to rush him back from injury, but he could be back in October. I think this is significant because we've got De Ligt and Yoro for right centre back. We've got Maguire and Martinez for left centre back, but we're in that period where there's going to be games twice a week, and we need, the more numbers we can get, especially with the injuries we got at the back, players getting cramped. We know how injury prone they are. So having Leny Yoro return would be massive, especially because he's a good player with great potential, great young centre back. I think he's quick, and I actually think, in terms of Ten Hag's long-term plan, the way he wants to play, I think Leny Yoro suits it more than any other player we've got if he reaches his potential. I think De Ligt is obviously a better player than Yoro right now. Martin is obviously a better player than Yoro right now. But if you're thinking of the long-term way that Ten Hag wants to play and the type of centre back Leny Yoro is, he's the next Virgil van Dijk in terms of profile. He's the kind of guy where Ten Hag ball being transitional, dangerous, exposing the defence, but also needing defenders to be good 1v1 and good on the ball. Leny Yoro can do that. He's got John Stones elements in him, ability to step into midfield. I think people underestimate how amazing Leny Yoro is in terms of talent and profile. There's a reason Real Madrid were looking at him. There's a reason Liverpool were looking at him. He is sort of the next Van Dijk sort of mould if he reaches his potential. Talking of players reaching potential, Xavi Simons was one of those wonder kids that did end up reaching his potential somewhat. Manchester United contacted PSG before the Euros to ask about the situation of Xavi Simons, although they never really started a negotiation with the player's preference being returned back to Germany, but expectations is to try something new in summer 2025. So, Fabrizio Romano is confirming that we may try something new for Xavi Simons in 2025. The fact that we looked at wingers like Elise and Xavi Simons and didn't sign a winger, as I said earlier, it says to me, I think Xavi Simons, I think Eze even, Assane Diao, Dibbling, Gittins. I think United will be bringing in a winger. I think they'll be bringing in a left back. I think they'll bring in a Casemiro and Ederson replacement if they go. And I think they'll bring in a left-sided centre back. I think they'll bring in 5 signings next summer. And as I've said many times, Robinson, Branthwaite, Angel Gomez, Wharton or Stiller in the DM, and then someone like Gittins on the wing would be absolutely amazing. Big fan of Xavi Simons as well. Would absolutely take him at United. He can play anywhere from attacking midfield to the wing as well. And he was a player that United looked at, but I think he wanted another year in Germany for his development, which is fair enough. Now let's talk about midfielders United are looking at, because this guy's a similar profile to Ugarte, a similar profile to Casemiro, and that is Ederson. And Man United is still tracking Atalanta midfielder Ederson. We had a look at Ederson and Andre. Andre's gone to Wolves. I have to say, Andre's first game for Wolves versus Newcastle, he looked really, really good. We were tracking those two midfielders. Obviously, Andre's better on the ball, Ederson's better off the ball. There's potential options maybe if Ugarte fell through, or second midfield options, because there was talk of United wanting to bring in 2 midfielders. But I think because Casemiro ended up staying, they were sort of limited on funds because Casemiro and Ederson ended up staying. But Man United are tracking Atalanta midfielder Ederson. I like Ederson. I'm glad we didn't get him this summer, because I think I need to see him have 2 full seasons at Atalanta, not sign him off the back of 1 good season. Plus, Atalanta always milk us for money. That's something that we need to work on. But I like the player, I like the guy, but I do think I'd want someone a little bit better on the ball if I'm going to be honest in terms of another midfield addition. But it just depends how his season goes and how Agate's season goes. I think it's too early to tell, and I think this could be one to watch ahead of next summer. You know, João Gomez, Ederson, Andre, all those Brazilian midfielders United have been keeping an eye on a lot lately. Guys, please hit that like button and of course subscribe down below if you're still watching and new. I do a video every morning. That's a 10-minute video rounding up all the latest United news in 10 minutes for you guys if you don't have super time to watch a live stream. And then my live shows are normally 30 to 40 minutes long in the evening, where we sort of discuss the news and then we get into evening news and have a chat with you guys as well. A bit more interactive. So if that's your kind of thing, please do subscribe. But let's get into what the Muppeteers have said on all the latest United news via their YouTube live stream. INEOS have been looking at a new stadium since they first met with the Glazers. They've been exploring routes for funding, and INEOS have always wanted a new stadium. The plan was to build a new stadium and use the old one for women and the academy. That is the plan. That's what I want to happen. Whether that will happen, we'll have to wait and see. It's probably too soon for Mount Hoyland to start against Palace, which is fair. I think they'll be on the bench, but to start them would be silly. United are not going to rush back players like they did last year. Euro may be back closer to the international break, which is good because we didn't expect them back to November. And that United are looking at long-term BRUNO replacements and keeping an eye on Okay, I just froze and cut out there because my camera disconnected itself again. It keeps doing this thing while we live, and it's just disconnecting itself. But we're talking about Bruno. United looking at long-term Bruno Fernandes replacements. Obviously, I think Bruno, there is talk that if we don't have a good season this year, he could leave. He did take that new contract, but as he's sort of getting to the end of his career, wants to be playing in the Champions League. If we don't have a good season this year, Bruno could leave. But I think they're looking more long-term Bruno replacements because there's an expectation he's getting old and he will leave in 2-3 years. So maybe do what Manchester City did with Rodri and Fernandinho, where they brought Rodri in Fernandinho's sort of final season to mould him in and all of that as well. I do think we will have to look at long-term Bruno replacements. For me, if we're really good in a year's time, in a year and a half's time, and Chelsea really shite in a year and a half's time, I'd like Cole Palmer because Cole Palmer can produce numbers in a crap side, and that's what that is for me, is the Bruno replacement. If we're really good in a year and a half time, we wouldn't get him this summer coming, 2025, but in summer 2026, maybe Bruno leaves, Cole Palmer comes in, because I think summer 2025 is you've got to look at the wing, Ederson replacement, Casemiro replacement, left centre back, left back. Let's say summer 2025 we have a really good window, we get 5-6 players, and then we go in a title race next season, or we get like a Liverpool title race where we get there to April and we just can't catch Manchester City or Arsenal at the final stretch. Then we're like that one big signing away from making something happen. I'd love a Cole Palmer, but this is all if buts and maybes. I do apologise for the lag. In regards to money coming in, Manchester United could get a bit more money for Mason Greenwood. We got about 26 million in pure FFP profit, but there could be more. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain have all been following Mason Greenwood since he joined Marseille, and that United held a 50% sell-on clause. So I think that's quite interesting here, because I think if we all of a sudden sell Greenwood, if Marseille sell Greenwood for 70 million, we could get 35 million for Greenwood, which means in total we'll make 60 million from the Greenwood deal in pure FFP profit, which could be unbelievable. Let's say Greenwood becomes a 100 million player, United could potentially make £75 million from Mason Greenwood. Now, apparently, it's only 50% on anything above 20 million, though. So, apparently, if he's sold for 50 million, we'd actually make 15 million because the 30 million above 20 million. So, maybe not. But if he is sold for 50 million, we still make 40 million in total from the Greenwood deal, which does massively help our finances, especially as a club that's not good at selling. In terms of other news and story, I want to power through because I don't want the video to be too long. Eric Ten Hag suggests Mount Hoyland could be in Man United squad versus Palace. La-di-la. I don't think they'll start, but I think they'll be in the team. We also linked to Karim Adeyemi and obviously Martin Batterina. Probably don't know if I've said his name right, but again, these aren't the most reliable sources, but these are players that United might be looking at in sort of the wing and attacking midfield. A lot of the youngsters we're looking at are wingers or attacking midfielders. And it was also said by Laurie Whitwell that United's under-21s are set to play a handful of games in Salford City Stadium to ease the load on the Lee Sports Village, which is the team's usual venue, which is probably the relationship between United and Salford. Obviously makes sense there. And it was also said that Manchester United and Real Madrid have shown interest in Dinamo Zagreb midfielder Martin Batterina, and they could make a move from next summer. We have been linked to him by reliable sources. This isn't a reliable source, but it could be one to watch. He was in that team that Bayern Munich beat 9-2, but he was a better performer. But Let's talk about this. Marcus Rashford is the second most abused athlete on social media in the past 12 months. And I don't think that's good. I think, look, Rashford, you can criticise him. I think everyone could say Rashford's been shite for a year. Rashford hasn't been good enough for a year. Rashford needs to step up. Everyone has every right to say that, but he does get abused. And I think people got to remember criticism, fine. Abuse, not good. Easy. Because Rashford has, at 26 years of age, 204 goal contributions and 309 starts for United, when Sanchez, Sancho, Anthony, Depay, Mkhitaryan, all other wingers at the club haven't been able to perform, but they may have performed elsewhere, but haven't been able to perform at Manchester United in an unsustainable system. And I think, like, he's just look, if he doesn't perform this season, he'll have to go because he's had 2 bad seasons in a row. But he's been playing well at the moment, and I think he's just massively overhated as well. When Rashford, and Ten Hag said on Rashford, it's good to see him scoring goals. Confidence is massive for Rashford, and it's always good to have him in the team. But listen, people, please hit the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Sorry for the camera glitch earlier on. Thank you for watching. Bye.